welcome to our nightly news. These are the headlines. On the second day of his visit, His Majesty Haytham bin Tariq, Sultan of Oman, received an official welcome at the Presidential Palace by the President of the Republic, Abdelmajid Tebboune. The Sultan's visit to Algeria culminated in the signing of several memorandums of understanding, setting new cooperation opportunities between the two countries in various sectors. Meanwhile, in Morocco, the country is facing an unprecedented crisis as growing insecurity pushes the population to the edge. Trade unions are calling for a nationwide strike. Welcome back, everyone, to tonight's news. On the second day of the state visit by Sultan Haytham bin Tariq of Oman, a brotherly nation to Algeria, an official ceremony was held at the presidency as the President of the Republic, Abdelmajid Tebboune, extended a warm reception to his Omani counterpart. As the motorcade of Sultan Haytham bin Tariq entered, a cavalry squadron from the Republican Guard paid a tribute to Algeria's distinguished guest. At the entrance, President Abdelmajid Tebboune personally welcomed the Sultan. Before both leaders proceeded to the forecourt, where they saluted the national flag and reviewed formations of the Republican Guard, who paid them the honors. The President of the Republic and the guest of Algeria took a commemorative photo in front of national press and international ones. Then Sultan of Oman greeted senior Algerian officials who had gathered to welcome him, including the principal private secretary to the Presidency of the Republic, the minister delegate to the Minister of National Defense, chief of staff of the PNA, as well as members of the government and other high-level ranking officials. In return, the President of the Republic welcomed members of the high-level Omani delegation accompanying the Sultan. The Sultan of Oman, Haytham bin Tariq, accompanied by the President of the Republic, took a look at the historic milestones of the Algerian presidency displayed in the main hall of the presidency. Then President Abdelmajid Tebboune and Sultan Haytham bin Tariq held a one-on-one meeting tackling bilateral cooperation and ways to enhance it alongside consultation on regional and international issues of common interest. President of the Republic Abdelmajid Tebboune and the Sultan of Oman Haytham bin Tariq then co-chaired extended talks with members of both delegations. And following the extended talks, President Abdelmajid Tebboune and Sultan Haytham bin Tariq presided over the signing ceremony of agreements and memorandums of understanding covering various areas of cooperation between Algeria and Oman.
مذكرة تفاهم بين الشركة الوطنية للاستكشاف الجيولوجي والمنجمي التابعة لشركة سوناريم وشركة تنمية معادن عمان التابعة لجهاز الاستثمار العماني الموقعان عن الجانب الجزائري السيد بالقاسم سلطاني الرئيس المدير العام لمجمع سوناريم، عن الجانب العماني الفاضل مطر بن سالم البادي الرئيس التنفيذي لشركة تنمية معادن عمان. صحيفة شروط بنود اتفاقية أولية بين مجمع سونطراك الجزائرية وشركة أبراج للطاقة الموقعان عن الجانب الجزائري السيد رشيد حشيشي الرئيس المدير العام لمجمع سونطراك، عن الجانب العماني الفاضل سيف بن سعيد الحمحمي المدير التنفيذي لشركة أبراج للطاقة. مذكرة تفاهم بين وزارة الصناعة الصيدلانية في الجمهورية الجزائرية الديمقراطية الشعبية ووزارة الصحة في سلطنة عمان في مجال التصنيع الصيدلاني. الموقعان عن الجانب الجزائري السيد وسيم قويدري وزير الصناعة الصيدلانية، عن الجانب العماني معالي الدكتور هلال بن علي السبتي وزير الصحة. برنامج تنفيذي بين المركز الوطني للبحث والتنمية في الصيد البحري وتربية المائيات للجمهورية الجزائرية الديمقراطية الشعبية ومركز العلوم البحرية والسمكية لسلطنة عمان للتعاون العلمي والتقني في المجال السمكي. الموقعان عن الجانب الجزائري السيد يوسف شرفة وزير الفلاحة والتنمية الريفية والصيد البحري، عن الجانب العماني معالي الدكتور سعود بن حمود الحبسي وزير الثروة الزراعية والسمكية وموارد المياه. برنامج تنفيذي لمذكرة تفاهم للتعاون في مجالي حماية النباتات والصحة الحيوانية والحجر الزراعي. الموقعان عن الجانب الجزائري السيد يوسف شرفة وزير الفلاحة والتنمية الريفية والصيد البحري، عن الجانب العماني معالي الدكتور سعود بن حمود الحبسي وزير الثروة الزراعية والسمكية وموارد المياه. مذكرة تفاهم بين وزارة الفلاحة والتنمية الريفية والصيد البحري للجمهورية الجزائرية الديمقراطية الشعبية ووزارة الثروة الزراعية والسمكية وموارد المياه لسلطنة عمان في مجال التعاون في المجال الزراعي. الموقعان عن الجانب الجزائري السيد يوسف شرفة وزير الفلاحة والتنمية الريفية والصيد البحري، عن الجانب العماني معالي الدكتور سعود بن حمود الحبسي وزير الثروة والزراعية والسمكية وموارد المياه. برنامج تنفيذي للتعاون بين وزارة العمل والتشغيل والضمان الاجتماعي بالجمهورية الجزائرية الديمقراطية الشعبية ووزارة العمل بسلطنة عمان في مجال تفتيش العمل للأعوام 2025-2027. الموقعان عن الجانب الجزائري السيد فيصل بن طالب وزير العمل والتشغيل والضمان الاجتماعي، عن الجانب العماني معالي السيد بدر بن حمد البوسعيدي وزير الخارجية. برنامج تنفيذي بين وزارة التعليم العالي والبحث العلمي في الجمهورية الجزائرية الديمقراطية الشعبية ووزارة التعليم العالي والبحث العلمي والابتكار في سلطنة عمان للتعاون في مجالات التعليم العالي والبحث العلمي للأعوام 2026 2027 و2028. الموقعان على الجانب الجزائري السيد كمال بيداري وزير التعليم العالي والبحث العلمي، عن الجانب العماني معالي السيد بدر بن حمد البوسعيدي وزير الخارجية. مذكرة تفاهم بين وزارة العدل في الجمهورية الجزائرية الديمقراطية الشعبية والمجلس الأعلى للقضاء في سلطنة عمان في مجالات التعاون القضائية. الموقعان عن الجانب الجزائري السيد لطفي بوجمعة وزير العدل حافظ الأختام، عن الجانب العماني معالي السيد بدر بن حمد البوسعيدي وزير الخارجية. مذكرة تعاون بين وزارة العدل في الجمهورية الجزائرية الديمقراطية الشعبية ووزارة العدل والشؤون القانونية بسلطنة عمان. الموقعان عن الجانب الجزائري السيد لطفي بوجمعة وزير العدل حافظ الأختام، عن الجانب العماني معالي السيد بدر بن حمد البوسعيدي وزير الخارجية. صحيفة الشروط لاتفاقية إنشاء صندوق استثماري مشترك بين وزارة المالية في الجمهورية الجزائرية الديمقراطية الشعبية وجهاز الاستثمار العماني. الموقعان عن الجانب الجزائري السيد عبد الكريم بوزرد وزير المالية، عن الجانب العماني معالي عبد السلام بن محمد المرشدي رئيس جهاز الاستثمار العماني. نهاية مراسم التوقيع على الاتفاقيات بين الجمهورية الجزائرية الديمقراطية الشعبية وسلطنة عمان الشقيقة في حضرة قائدي البلدين حضرة صاحب الجلالة السلطان طارق بن هيثم المعظم والسيد عبد المجيد تبون رئيس الجمهورية.
And in a symbolic gesture reflecting the depth of friendship and mutual respect, President Abdelmajid Tebboune presented Sultan Haytham bin Tariq of Oman with a distinguished gift, a horse from one of Algeria's oldest and most prestigious breeds, as a token of appreciation for his visit and to reaffirm the strong bonds between the two countries and their brotherly peoples. At the headquarters of the Presidency of the Republic, bilateral talks were held between the Algerian and Omani delegations. This provided an opportunity to discuss bilateral cooperation prospects and ways to strengthen it to meet the aspirations of both peoples.
During Sultan Haytham's state visit to Algeria, both countries held high-level talks. Boualam, Algeria's chief of staff to the presidency of the Republic, met with Khaled al-Boussaidi to explore ways to boost cooperation. On the defense side, the Army General Said Shengriha, minister delegate to the Minister of National Defense, chief of staff of the National People's Army, met with Shihab bin Tariq al-Said, deputy prime minister for defense affairs of the Sultanate of Oman, to examine the prospects for cooperation in this strategic area. Arab and regional issues were also tackled in a meeting between Algerian Foreign Minister Ahmed Attaf and his Omani counterpart Badr bin Hamad al-Boussaidi. They talked about political cooperation and regional matters. Cooperation in agriculture and fisheries was also an important topic. The discussions brought together the Algerian Ministers of Agriculture and Water Resources Youssef Sharfa and Taha Derbal with the Omani Minister of Agricultural, Fisheries and Water Resources Saoud bin Hamoud al-Sabsi. Algeria's Minister of Health Abdel Haq Saihi also met with his Omani counterpart Hilal bin Ali al-Sabti to explore ways of working together in the health sector. Finally, investment opportunities were discussed in a meeting between Omar Rakash, Director General of the Algeria Investment Promotion Agency, and Abu Salim bin Muhammad al-Murshidi, Chairman of the Investment Authority of the Sultanate of Oman.
Earlier in the day, Sultan Haytham bin Tariq paid tribute at the Martyrs' Shrine, honoring the memory of the heroes of the glorious War of National Liberation. He laid a wreath at the commemorative stele dedicated to the martyrs. Accompanied by Prime Minister Nadil Arbawi, the Sultan also took in a view of the capital and the Bay of Algiers from the site. The Sultan then visited the National Mujahid Museum, where he received a detailed presentation of the various phases of Algeria's history, from popular resistance to the armed struggle during the War of National Liberation. At the end of the visit, he signed the museum's visitor's book. The Sultan of Oman, Haytham bin Tariq, concluded his state visit to Algeria. He was seen off at Algiers Houari Boumediene International Airport by the President of the Republic, Abdelmajid Tebboune. After the national anthems of both countries were played and the flag salute observed, the two leaders reviewed detachments of the various forces of the PNA who had lined up in their honor. The Sultan then bid farewell to senior government officials. The Prime Minister, the principal private sector at the Presidency of the Republic, the Minister of National Defense, Chief of Staff of the PNA, as well as other government members and top officials. For his part, the President of the Republic extended his greetings to the high-level Omani delegation accompanying the Sultan during his visit. The state's visit of Sultan Haytham bin Tariq to Algeria concluded with a joint communique. Both sides welcomed the positive momentum in bilateral relations, in particular following President Abdelmajid Tebboun's visit in October 2024 and the 8th session of the Algerian-Omani Joint Commission held in Algiers in June 2024. They also praised the efforts undertaken by both sides to implement the outcomes of the presidential visit and the agreements reached during the Joint Commission. This state visit also served as a chance to review joint partnership projects already on the way. One key example is the Algerian-Omani Fertilizer Company based in Ras al-Hajjaj in Oman province. We're talking about an ammonia and urea production complex with a production capacity of 4,000 tons. Najdiyar.
Algeria and Oman share strong economic ties, exemplified by the Algerian-Oman Fertilizer Company, one of Africa's largest ammonia and urea production complexes. And with cutting-edge technology, this company plays a significant role in both the national economy and the broader chemical industry.
The production capacity of single unit is estimated at 2,000 tons per day. We also have two 46% area production units, each with a capacity of 3,500 tons per day. Foreign currency sales generated by ammonia and urea can reach $600 million, with 95% of production destined for export. We use autonomous operating technologies, including 3 seawater desalination units that supply us with distilled water.
The Algerian-Omani partnership has expanded into a promising new strategic sector, green hydrogen, marking another milestone in their successful cooperation.
An initial project will see 20% of production in the form of green ammonia. The Omani partners, SBGH and Sonatrach, have agreed in principle to sign a memorandum of understanding to launch a feasibility study with the German company at the AOA complex.
This path reflects a vision for the future where innovation and industry join forces to drive a sustainable energy transition.
International news now. Protests ignite across France, confronting Retailleau, who fears the growing influence of the movement and sees it as a serious threat to the far right's hold on power. Najdiyar once again.
Amid the fiery unrest in the streets of France, youth organizations are emerging as a defiant force, including the Jeune Garde standing firm against the rise of fascism. They openly challenge the authority of Retailleau, who grows increasingly uneasy at the surge in youth awareness and resistance. This marks a bold confrontation between a generation that refuses to submit and a far right that views their voice as a fundamental threat to its existence. The far right has been attacking our organization for years and years. We've won several victories against the far right, notably in the streets, against the social stronghold. We've also managed to get the Génération Identitaire group disbanded because we're scaring them, because the Jeune Garde has won many victories on the ground against the far right. It's an abuse of inappropriate power which he uses against any form of organization that challenges his image. So I'm not really surprised, because our organization is an organization that is so consistent and works against the far right.
Parce qu'elle lutte de façon conséquente contre l'extrême droite.
Youth movement activists view the attacks against them as a silent proof of their rise in power and influence over France's new generation. Meanwhile, Rotaillot sees Jean Gard's voice as a direct challenge to his political agenda.
I have one message for you. That is, the Republic deserves better than you. The Republic demands who is better than you. Mr. Rotaillot, it's time to resign. The French people need a full-time minister who will protect them. Go!
And the observers see the attempt to dissolve the movement as a clear assault on public freedoms, carried out under the direction of the Interior Minister, a figurehead of fascism and a promoter of right-wing racist discourse.
In Morocco, social insecurity is plunging the population into an unprecedented crisis, exacerbated by the indifference of the Makhzen regime. In the streets and in businesses, unions are calling for strikes and threatening to paralyze the country. Rainal Bahri reports.
In Morocco, poverty is deepening as the middle class sinks into hardship and the poorest lost hope of improving their lives. Over half of Moroccan households, 53%, fear their living conditions will worsen in the coming years.
Citizens are forced to buy drinking water because tap water is unsafe, leading many to feel pushed to leave the country. Daily wages of 80 dirhams are not enough to cover basic needs like food, rent and utilities.
As the social crisis worsens with inflation and unemployment, poor public services and stalled social dialogue, protests and strikes are spreading. Unions organizing demonstrations against declining purchasing power face state repression.
Workers report being denied rights and subjected to constant pressure with companies. Demanding one's rights often leads to harassment and intimidation.
Meanwhile, the Makhzen ignores internal issues and invests in unpopular agreements like the Abraham Accords, seen by many as aligning the country with Zionist interests against the will of the people.
That was it for today's news. Thank you so much for watching. I'll see you soon.